I hope you're all fantastic. On today's video, I want to talk about this guitar, the Rubato Lassie. This is a carbon fiber electric guitar. As you can see, incredibly streamlined and slim. You would have seen this on a few videos that I've done recently. Namely, I did a vlog where I did some traveling with this guitar. I've done a couple of gigs on it recently because it's been refurbished, and I think the overall story around this particular guitar and the improvements and modifications that were made to it are pretty interesting, and I think a lot of you will dig it. The short story is that a couple of years ago, I got chatting to Ollie from Rubato Guitars when he and his dad Roger were still just having some fun, doing some experiments with carbon fiber electric guitars. And they sent over this guitar, which was actually the third guitar they had ever made. It had a maple fretboard at the time, and it had some mini humbuckers in it. And I played the guitar a bunch, I gigged it, I sent them a bunch of feedback about it, and we generally just kind of became fast friends because it seems like what they're trying to do with these guitars and what I like about kind of using innovative materials and approaches to modern electric guitars really seem to align. So we got talking about doing some upgrades and improvements to this guitar, and there were a few things that I really wanted. I wanted full-size humbuckers on this, and while I liked the maple fretboard on there, to me the cool thing about this is that there's no wood on it. So the fretboard got replaced with a Richlight diamond fretboard. So as you can see, it's like pretty much pitch black. It looks like the perfect piece of ebony on there. These are also Porter humbuckers in here now. There's an overdrive in the bridge and a clear in the neck. The other really cool thing on this is this Freeway 6-way switch. So it kind of looks like a traditional Les Paul style 3-way toggle on there, but you actually have 6 positions on there. So what I want to do is give you an overview of the upgrade process. They were kind enough to snap a bunch of pictures and take some videos while they were modifying the guitar. And then I want to let you hear this, and I want to talk about my experience gigging it and playing it a bunch recently. Let's go. Because the guitar is so light, I was actually able to just wrap it in bubble wrap and put it in a box without a case. So it's always nice to know that it made it and there were smiles all around. The first big thing that was going to happen to this was that humbuckers were going to be added to this. So the pickup routes needed to be extended and the fretboard was going to be swapped out for Richlight. So there's some pretty interesting footage that the Rubato team sent me here of extending a few elements of the body, namely the pickup mounts on here that you can see at the moment. So some very fine router work happening on here. I do love a nice close-up of a router and a tasty little jig. And you can see on here that it originally had mini humbuckers and it's now got Porter full-size humbuckers in here. So these needed to be extended. Again, close-up of a router. What more could you want out of a guitar build or a guitar mod video on here? The step after this that was really, really satisfying to watch on these videos was watching the fretboard get taken down. And while I really liked having the maple fretboard on there, and I've got nothing against maple fretboards in general, I felt like the aesthetic of the guitar would probably be better served with something dark. And I've always wanted a guitar with a totally blacked out fretboard and only side markers on there. So seeing this piece of maple get sacrificed did make me a little bit sad, but I think the end result on here really, really works well for the instrument. And again, more satisfying router footage. So there's a few more little close-ups on here that you can see as it's getting prepped for the fretboard. And again, some more tasty little jigs and close-ups on here. The pickup mounts you can see on there. This is the thing that really, really surprised me when I took the guitar out. I didn't know about this, but they did print my logo on the back of the guitar. So I pulled it out of the case, had a noodle around, and as I was tuning it, I was very, very surprised. It was something they didn't have to do, and I extend my absolute gratitude to the Rubato team on there. It's such a lovely extra little touch to have on there. I truly am not worthy. You can see it there with the tuners on there, the Grovers, which feel great, and this guitar stays very, very well in tune. You can then see the Richlight board is on there with new frets. I'll give you a close-up of the fret ends in just a little bit when I actually play the guitar, but they are really, really smooth, and they've kind of got these rounded edges on there. It looks almost like a custom piece of jewelry rather than a guitar. See the weight in there, less than 2.5 kilograms, is pretty amazing, and some very tidy wiring on there. I'm going to show you this 6-way switch as well. And the final touch on there, the Lumenlay fretboard markers, which are awesome. Then it went in the box and it came back, and this is what it looks like. Seeing that logo on the back still makes me feel a little bit emotional, so thank you guys so much again. What I want to do here is just run through some of the sounds you can get out of the Porter pickups with this 6-way Freeway switch on here. I'm using my Axe Effects, and I've got a block that I matched to my good friend Troy Naberband's 1977 JMP, so it's a straight up Marshall crunch. It's already pretty bright, but what I'm going to do is start on the bridge humbucker here. I'll go through the traditional 3-way switches on here, so you just kind of click this in what I would consider like the downward polarity on here. You just have a standard 3-way switch, you have bridge, you have both pickups on, and then you have the neck humbucker. If you flick that up, you get neck single coil, then you get the tapped coils in parallel, then you get the bridge humbucker in parallel. So there's 3 very distinct sounds available on there, and the values on the volume and tone pot I think work really, really well if you want to clean this up. So first, let's just hear this unplugged. As you can hear, it's a loud guitar. I've got it in drop C, because I've just been doing some ragdoll gigs. But it was funny, we were rehearsing the other day, and Cam, our drummer, was even saying, he's like, why is that guitar so loud? What's going on? So you know when the drummer notices something, that's a good sign. Let's just hear, well, it's going to be a G chord in this tuning, but a big fat A on this tone, and then I'll go through the standard positions and then the 3 extra positions on the Freeway switch, everything wide open. As you'd expect, those single coil and parallel modes are a lot zingier and brighter on there, but having the tone control on there and just backing it off a little bit really warms it up and makes it kind of balance out nicely on there. The way I've basically been approaching using this is you've got the kind of downward positions on there, your traditional humbucker sounds, and then you've got the up positions on there, which are going to be more your like jangly single coil or parallel modes, is pretty much setting the guitar up to just use 3 of those sounds at a time. So for example, if I was, again, just running this kind of stock crunchy Marshall style thing and I wanted to do something bluesy, let's try the next single coil. I'll get it all set up on here and I'll just switch between those 3 positions. It's going to give me 3 different flavors of that sound. I'm probably going to have to back the tone control off a bit. For For a standard ragdoll show though, I would just stick to those bottom 3 positions on there. I'll let you hear the difference between the bridge pickup and then the neck pickup. I'll then play some lead on the neck and bridge pickup. Quite like that contrast between the full humbucker in the neck for lead sounds and then being able to tap it down to a single coil for just an alternative take on there. It's got that sort of like wiry thing you might get out of a Super Strat that has an HSS or an HS configuration on there. So those pickups are voiced quite sweetly on there. I'll let you hear some clean sounds now going through all 6 positions on there. That top position with the single coil and parallel mode sounds closer to the way the guitar did when I first got it and it had mini humbuckers. I think in the initial video I did with it, I described it as the telly from hell. The thing that got me when I took it out of the box and plugged it in was I slapped it on the bridge humbucker. It was set up in drop C straight out of the box. I basically just had to tune the 3rd string a little bit, and then as soon as I hit it through that big chungus high gain sound, I had that feeling of like, this is what the guitar was lacking. It just missed that little extra gear on there for what I like to do anyway. You could hear with those clean sounds that it can sound super sweet as well. So, I mean, guitar aside, that Freeway switch, if you've been thinking about one to put on a Les Paul or a twin humbucker guitar, I'd really, really like it, and I'd love to put one of these on, say, one of my PRS guitars to get those extra sounds for when I want them. Now, I did a show a little over a week ago where we had to fly up to the northwest of WA, where it's extremely hot and humid, and I put this guitar in a soft bag, chucked it on the plane. There's no wood on it, so nothing was going to move because of the differences in moisture content in the air. I took it out of the bag when we got there and it was still in tune. You can go and watch my vlog talking about that. Having something that is so lightweight and compact and I guess stress-free to travel with is a massive thing for me, because I don't do those gigs every single week, but I do them on a regular enough basis where having something that I know is going to be super reliable and again just stress-free is going to be really, really handy. So this is going to become the fly guitar for me, just taking it on shows where we need to fly. This and an FM3 is pretty much going to cover every single tone that I need. It's an incredibly lightweight setup. It's consistent, which I really, really like. The other thing as well is this guitar is just incredibly fun to play. I'm over 6 foot in the old language. I'm about 185 centimeters. So having a guitar this light to be able to throw around on stage, to anyone who's seen me play, you know, I like to jump around a lot and do a bunch of stupid stuff. It almost feels like the guitar's not there. The first gig that I did with it, doing our original stuff with Ragdoll, I kind of commented after the show that it's like just having a set of frets dangling in the air that you can play. Incredible feeling on there. I have played a few, I guess, Ibanez S-series guitars. They're probably the closest thing I can think of in terms of the thickness on here. The one thing that did throw me was that holding this guitar against your body, and if you've got a regular thickness guitar, your hand kind of sits out about here, whereas on this, it's a lot closer to your body. So I did notice that the angles of my arms and my shoulders were a little bit different, but it's a relatively straightforward adjustment. And being able to come off stage after doing a 3-hour gig without your shoulder hurting that's just an absolute treat. Furthermore, it's incredibly easy to play. It's so well set up, and I just like knowing that it's stainless steel frets, it's a Richlight fretboard, it's carbon fiber, there's their new hardened zero nut on here in the string guide. You know, it's as close to set and forget as you can get with an electric guitar. It's a very, very unique guitar in this collection, and I look forward to playing it a whole bunch more. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments section below. And again, I want to thank the Rubato team for doing these upgrades and treating me with doing things like putting my logo on the back there. This is a guitar that hopefully I'll be able to play for many, many years, many, many decades, and ultimately have some fun making guitar noises, which is what this is all about. I'll link the Rubato website in the video description. Otherwise, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great day, and I'll see you all next time.